Hello, everybody. It is Friday night once again, and on this week's jam-packed show, we check out some World War I Ottomans, a few World War II Greeks, a $350 dragon that's bigger than a can of Coke, and we ask, is a hairless cat the most dangerous beast in all the galaxy? On top of all of that, one lucky viewer will be in with a chance to win a copy of Age of Sigmar Extremis, the two-player starter set from store.ontabletop.com. To be given the chance to win that massive bundle, all you need to do is be a subscriber to the channel, pop a comment below, and if you can do all the social media nonsense as well, that would be awesome. Otherwise, sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello, folks. We are back once again to bring you another fun-filled little factoid show of all the goodness from tabletop gaming. And this week, I'm joined by John, Free, and Ben to accompany me on my journey. How are you guys keeping? Surviving the heat waves?
Yes.
Just about.
We've got rain. Nah.
It's finally got to the point where the heat is not so severe and I can actually sit and paint models again. And so because I have a lot of games coming up this weekend that I needed to paint board game miniatures for that I just decided to put off. I sat during the nice cold section of the evening this week going, 20 miniatures all done. Oh, beautiful. So,
at this point, I'm considering going outside and starting a rain dance. So it's all up there.
That's probably a good way to do it.
That's the way to go.
I think people have been already managing some of that in the south of England, haven't they? Quite a lot of it. They're trying to shovel it up north. But yeah, so we're back once again, and we've nothing clever or interesting to tell you about what's coming up. Although I will say, Battle Systems are in the studio next week filming with me. So maybe there is something coming up. You have to keep your eyes out to see what that
Maladin. Cough.
If you have any interesting questions you want to ask about that, chuck them down below, because I'll be sitting down with Colin, I suspect, to pick his brains. So, we'll just leave that one on the back burner, but you can just mull over that as we take you through the rest of the show. And we're going to be kicking things off, as always, with the most important part, the Indie of the Week. And this week, we're looking at a range of near future and sort of moderns from Pig Iron Productions, who are a delightful company who don't have a game attached that I can find, but the stuff will work for a whole host of games anyway, so that's always good. As you can see here from the delightful Pig Iron Productions shop, you can see some of the figures they work in. Metal 28s across the board, and I've split our sort of viewing across modern. And then from modern, we'll go into the near future. And then we might round things off with some of their accessories and bits, because there's some interesting accessories and or bits to discuss.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the 1980s Hostage Rescue. Now, this is a new range that they've already started with of late. So that the SAS that we're about to look at have only just come out end of last week. Start of this week.
Okay. Yeah.
So we already have some things like we have air hostess and a pilot and possibly a co-pilot or possibly another air hostess. For your hostages, they are not alone, because I've seen on their face page a bunch of schoolgirls kneeling down, some with bags on their heads, and what looked like what looked like some sort of drug cartel. Mexican guns. So this is an ever expanding range, but the SAS are split into saber teams. So you can get like 3 little teams of. Don't worry, there's a big picture.
Look at those perfect Lloyd-ass pictures there.
I know, right?
Well,
there we go.
Here's one that will annoy him because it's proper sized.
Oh, yeah.
But as you can see, they are looking very storming embassy sort of styling.
Yep. Yeah.
really
looks very good for Spectre.
Well, this is it, because they don't have a specific game of their own, but there's a lot of games out there like Spectre, like Dish Dash's ultra modern.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the more sort of near futurist things like Zona Alpha and bits and pieces like that, where stuff like this would fit in.
Spec Ops as well from Osprey would be a good shot.
Yeah. So, the teams themselves, you can get teams of 3, or you can pick up platoon of all of them.
Nice.
But it just means there are different different setups.
I like how they clearly took a nice, massive picture of all of them, and then they were like, let's just put a really tiny one in.
No, because that's what it's going to look like to scale, isn't it? It will be about here. So all you've got to do is go up to the computer like this.
They've done it for our benefit.
For our benefit.
Very, very much so for your benefit. You can see in the background there, see the pink and the white. I'm pretty sure that's the Cartelli looking. But there's and then I think those are the kneeling down schoolgirls right at the very, very back.
Right.
I mean, why not? It's interesting because the SAS have come out this week along with these iron dice with the engravings in them, features. And I'm looking at the mat that this is being played on, and I'm wondering, is there an actual game coming?
Oh, maybe
about hostage rescue and stuff. But so that's the sort of the beginnings of it. We also then have the Stalkers, which I'm sure John will appreciate.
Ooh.
So these are a Russian or Eastern Europe style set of figures, which are particularly nice. What was that game where you ended up spending a lot of time? Was it just called Stalker? Killing people around Chernobyl?
Yep.
There you go.
Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl or something like that.
Yeah.
But these are beautiful, beautiful figures.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of games that have got that kind of pulpy weirdness to them that fit into that kind of near future moderns thing as well. So that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Somebody's about to get inside of the head.
What's the one that everyone plays at the moment where you run in and you die and then you come out again?
Oh, Escape from Tarkov.
Escape from Tarkov. There we go. You run in and you die, I think is the good way to explain that. Yeah. But yeah, you could use these as like Tarkov for like a Tarkov style game. That could be kind of cool. Sort of set up a place on the map, maybe using Spectre or something.
Yeah.
You're
like, we need to go there and claim these objectives and then get out again before you get taken down by the AI or something. Yeah.
You could use the K9s as an alternative dog meat for Fallout.
Oh, yeah. Of course. As well. Yeah, true.
I think we need to change the colours on that flag.
Yes. Yeah. And they're all metal as well. These
are all metal, yeah. They do have some resin bits and pieces, but they tend to be kept for the vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Again, I quite like that for the house clearance. Good rate of cycling. And the little, the sniper sitting pose is really interesting. Because
better than having to paint someone lying down on the floor.
Well, you do see the lying down, but I just like the setting. There's a great image of a US sniper in Vietnam, photograph of him and a spotter up against a tree, and the sniper's just sitting like this.
So. Really easy to incorporate nice things with base with that. With that sniper sitting down, you could definitely put in some cover.
Yeah. Big old bush or some like large pieces of masonry around the side or something.
Definitely.
A bit of a brick wall or something.
Yeah.
So those are our sort of Eastern European / Russian stalkers.
Cool.
For near future.
Yeah.
And includes some female members of the squad as well.
Some Lydias.
Well, they were hot shots in World War II, so why would they not be in the modern day as well?
And then we also have, now this is segueing into the sci-fi side of things.
Right, yeah.
But you have these multi-part
sets. Okay.
So legs and torsos and irregulars, which again, very good for doing your hostage taking or your modern sort of pulp games as well.
You got like sort of Judge Dreddy, well, not Judge Dreddy, but kind of like cyberpunky, sort of near future type vibes as well. You know, sort of street gangs taking over portions of cities and having to send in the
Warriors
troops to put them down and stuff. Yeah, Warriors come out and play, but with a lot more firepower. Maybe it was.
Yeah. Well, in that case, Snake Plissken then.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
But like I say, there's the.
Kind of look like the bad guys from Metal Gear Solid. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, they do, yeah.
Different colors.
Regular legs.
Sure.
You need to have a phone with an app that just makes the alert sound every time they see you. And so,
but
What was that noise?
These are quite nice. The fact that they are multi-part, because if you're doing a guerrilla or terrorist force or whatever it happens to be, you know, something that's non-regular military, being able to mix and match to keep the diversity within there, because you don't want uniformity in a non-uniformed force.
I also like that they've turned the sprue into a piece of terrain. That's really cool.
That's awesome, isn't it?
You can add rubble to your basing with it, which is a neat little touch as well. Yeah, so that's our sort of our near future parts. And then if I pop into our vehicles, you can see where I'm going, because we will be segueing from this into the future mightily. But they have 28mm Humvees, which are always good to see. I'm 100% on board for that, because I've got a few bits and pieces kicking around that is kind of modern or near future. So things like WW1 lurking over my shoulder. So getting my hands on vehicles for that is always good as well.
Yeah. What's quite nice as well with this is that like there's a plethora of modern infantry, I think, out there for a lot of people to dive into, but they're just the modern vehicles, I think, that are maybe there's less of out there, because everyone makes World War II vehicles, but it's the sort of slightly more modern stuff that you need to get, especially in 28mm. I mean, there's a lot of Cold War bits and pieces out there, but obviously nice to see modern vehicles in 28. It's nice.
So 3 varieties of Humvee, from the canvas back to the hospital to the standard. Shocked there isn't a technical to go with.
We need the Toyota Hiluxes.
Yeah. But pushing away then from our moderns and into their near future, we have some of the big chunky vehicles. These are just bricks of resin. And the first thing that struck me when I seen these, not so much this one, but one of the other tanks that we'll have a look at in a second, was if you'd taken a mouse and went, let's make a sci-fi version of a mouse, let's pull it 80 years into the future or 90 years into the future. That's the sort of vibe I got off it, because it's such just a brick. And John will know what I'm talking about with the mouse. I mean, the mouse is just so ridiculous when you look at it. It's like nobody would ever have built this. It's just slabs. It's like if you ask a child to make a tank out of a cornflakes box, that's the sort of aerodynamic design that they would do. And I mean, for me, it's perfect. Just go, well, you getting through my armor? I don't think you are, Sonny Jimbo. I love that railgun looking affair on as well.
That was really cool.
Yeah. But again, these, I mean, you could use them in a whole host of games. Not just your
Scorpion tank. I mean, not a Scorpion tank.
Praetorian, then. What are you on about?
Don't worry. It's a tiny Scorpion.
It's not like that. But then you'll find like a nest of like 1,000 of them. See the video of that? There's a video of that kicking around last week on the Tinterwebs. It's just like a pile of Scorpions. I wouldn't want them.
I was going to say that because they do have. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. They do have a slight like Halo vibe to them in a way. It's kind of cool. Also, a little bit of sort of Starship Troopers and all that kind of stuff as well. So, very nice indeed.
Like that coaxial, or pent. I suppose it's not even a pendle, but sort of side-mounted, massive machine guns.
Because why wouldn't you?
Well, exactly. Also makes a lot of sense. Have your feed going straight into the top of the hull or the sponson, so you're not having to get out, change a mag case or whatever on the side of it.
I've always thought that would be really Well, obviously, there's all the other things going on when you're inside a tank and shooting a massive gun on top of it. But like all the shell casings would just be like plinking down on top of the armor. And you'd just be in there, not only hearing the sound of the gun firing and all that thing, but just this constant ding, 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 ding. And you'd be like, aha.
Constant drone of noise.
There's rules for that in bolt action. If you've an inexperienced team in a tank, and they get hit by anything, you have to roll to see whether or not they panic and take a pen marker, because they don't realize that some of the things going tink, 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 tink can't hurt them at all. So inexperienced ones are likely to jump at every bang on the side of the hull, whether it's something that can penetrate or not. Yeah. So it's in there for some games. Don't worry. We'll have a look.
I wasn't just mad.
Have a look at the aggressor.
Quite alien-like, a lot of this stuff. Industrial alien-like.
Yeah.
Could see that getting dropped off by a not pelican.
Just get Spunkmeyer to drop it off and head on away. Go team. But so that leads us neatly then into the more sort of sci-fi-y style.
That heavy infantry squad looks really cool.
Well, this is our heavy infantry that you can take a look at.
Heavy infantry section, right?
So the heavy infantry contain many things. From
there's even some dead ones.
there are even some casualties, which is good for objective-based games.
Yeah.
These are interesting.
I like
fellows.
Those.
They've got a real chunk to them, a heft. That means you're not going a million miles away.
Yellow visor, Master Chief, almost.
The Master Chef. Just want a gimbal mount on the bottom of that big support piece there.
Yeah.
Just to really lay.
I like those. Vibe. Those are like proper cool near future sci-fi troops. Those are. It's the helmet designs that get me. I think they're nice. I love that they have that kind of, again, almost Starship Troopers feel, where they're the kind of standard issue helmet that everyone has to wear. It doesn't matter how big it is for your head, you still got to wear it. Very nice.
Are you qualified to make that distinction on the Mark III helmet? I like the casualties.
They're
nice. This one may or may not be gripping his torso.
He's just taking a shot to the gut.
Checking his friends, or he's holding his guts in.
Yeah.
Either could be an answer on that one. The heavy infantry are really interesting because it has that. It bridges the gap. It's not hard. Well, it could be hard sci-fi, but if it is, you're talking a couple of decades. You're not talking hundreds or thousands.
Yeah.
Of years.
I mean, the guns don't. A lot of they're just lasers. I mean, some of them are named lasers, but some of them could. A lot of them could just still be like solid shot style weapons and things. Yeah.
And then getting into the heavy weapons for them. There's a couple of missile teams, or as we all know, rocket launchers. Because you'd never say missile because it contains the word miss, which means your missiles will miss. That's why you always call them rockets. This is gaming 101, people. Just saying.
5 versions of Saint Javelin.
Yep. I'll deal with those stalkers. Then we also have some of the heavy weapons, which they've got two alternatives. You can either have fixed emplacements or they have tractor mounts. So if you need to move the things around, so you can get sort of
well thought out,
permanent, whatever. I always, whenever I see these with the big bolts in them, I just think of the Die Hard.
Oh yes, yeah.
Drilling into the floor before they take out the.
A Maxim machine gun with the old style Gatling magazine on top of it.
Oh, it's very much a hodgepodge. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a good looking piece of kit, and has that sort of design that would fit into a alternative Cadian army or Imperial Guard army, where you can go, well, this is kind of where we're going with this.
Or a one-page rules army.
Or one-page
rules army. Yeah.
For the I'm trying to remember the name.
Who wants to play ninth? Who wants to play ninth?
Well, I certainly don't. But I like this. I love the mortar on its little Goliath track. So you can just rumble forward.
It's either the tube for a mortar, or that's the shell that has just landed in the top of the mortar.
Oh no, fear not, because there's the mortar shells in these two crates.
Oh, okay, there we go.
So that's the Goliath mortar.
I was going to say it's either a very accurate artillery strike or it was a mortar. Yeah.
I really like the Goliath, but then I've always liked the Goliath.
Quite a nice little piece, that, yeah.
That is, yeah.
They're really nicely detailed as well. I like all the work they've done on the tracks and everything like that. It's all really nicely done. Lots of movement and flow to them. So it'll actually feel like when it doesn't feel static, it feels like it's in motion on the tabletop, which is always cool.
And there's the same machine gun that we've seen before, but with the tractor mount on it. And that is a brutal World War One-esque set of wheels on there. I mean, you know, hitch up a couple of Shire horses to it because it's going to require that to move it. Whole team of them. That's our heavies then. But then we also have the colony, which are in a Starship Trooper style. There's not many for the colony, but we've got some feral hunters.
Ooh.
Spindly leaping things coming out of the grass. I mean, you don't want them coming anywhere near you. I certainly don't. Feral Hunter Prime.
Like coming from the sand. That's quite nice.
That's what they do. They burrow in there like a nest of 1,000 scorpions. And then they just come at you like Cleopatra.
Just mixed Tremors with Starship Troopers, and away you go. That's the crossover we didn't know we needed.
No.
As long as Kevin Bacon's in it.
I was going to say Kevin Bacon trying to take on the Bergs.
I would definitely be on hand with that. Yeah. But then here we have some of the more regular militias and things. So you've got sort of
those damn Outlanders.
You've got your feral scum,
very nice,
rad type mutants. With a whole host of unusual things going on.
Those alien hills have eyes.
Yep.
Yes.
Bionic eyes. Yeah. I like those. They're nice.
They're very nice.
Oh, I like that thing where it's like almost like a tech cult.
Yeah.
It's almost like a
it's like he's got a circuit board or something like that.
Yeah.
Somebody's opened up an old video. Just has that.
We worship the mighty rainbow-colored apple.
Oh, God is hell this is.
Yeah.
Bow before Beta Max. But
we've just made a game. We've just made a game.
But then there are also the colony militia.
Oh, wow.
And these I quite like, particularly like the robot.
That droid's amazing.
Robot.
I do.
Yeah.
Tiny little robot.
Yeah.
But again, so you've got two flavors of sort of non-heavy infantry peeps that can be going about doing the Lord's own work down here. Well, seen you, haven't seen you. So our snipers,
the
little ghillie suit looking heads on them. Don't know what's going on with his head in the middle. That looks like it's been cropped weirdly. Is he missing half his head?
It's just been blown apart.
Potentially.
Oh, they're nice.
Yeah, Rebel specialists. He's just gaffer taped a heavy weapon around his shoulders. No gimbal mount for him.
No.
Beta Max does not take with gimbal mount.
That's VHS tape he has for the sling.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
We're getting more on theme here.
It is.
We sacrificed the VHS for our Beta Max.
Yeah. And again, some multi-part variants as well. So you can mix and match. Presumably, I haven't gone to look yet, but presumably these, because the scale is the same, they may mix with the near future.
Oh, you would have thought so.
So again, giving you some more, obviously the more chunky sci-fi weapon, but you can mix in some of the new future bits and bobs to vary it up a bit.
It's nice to have kit bashing, but to the degree where you don't have to stick every nth thing on if you don't want to. You can just take the bodies and the legs and stuff and play around with that. Yeah. Oh my. Oh dear. Those are good.
That's chunky.
Blimey Charlie. Is that what you said?
Oh yeah. Crikey O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I do just want to paint them in a sort of rusty orange colour.
Yeah.
Go full ABC Warriors.
Yeah.
They are
hefty. Amazing.
He's chunky boy.
Need the pins for that.
Just hear him, can't you?
It's not even £7, so I don't think they're particularly massive.
Probably.
I don't know.
Base.
Yeah, I'd still wouldn't trust those arms to stay on. Probably.
Ye of little faith.
Not with just super glue anyway. But
I really like them. They're an interesting bunch.
You've
got some weapon options. So you can mix and match between them.
Is that like a strange human head that you can put on the top of it?
Yes, it is.
So you didn't like a massive bionic dude or something.
Yeah. Maybe he's more like Kane from RoboCop 2.
Oh, yeah.
Who in no way went absolutely radio rental.
I was thinking like a cyber psycho from like Cyberpunk as well. Just like this person who's just gone utterly wild. Yeah.
Something Borg-like, really.
Oh, yeah.
So a set of 3 war droids. And droids are always good. Handy for things like Stargrave as well.
Yeah.
Generic wandering droids are great.
Stomping around trying to kill everybody. Yeah.
A lot of this would fit into Stargrave, really, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
It would.
40 mil, so that it must be a 40 mil base he's on as well.
About the size of a Terminator, a bit taller.
Sweet to the base.
Chunky boy.
And our system, our last little guys. So, scavengers.
Oh,
best
wow.
picture ever.
How did it get smaller?
Is that the record for smallest picture we've had on the weekend?
Probably.
I've had smaller.
No.
I've had smaller, and it bothered me that Lloyd wasn't about whenever it happened. 'Cause his head would have exploded. You can't have everything.
Hey.
Yeah, the system scavengers. So these are rocking about the place with all the optics on them. And
I think it'd be cool to do like a 0G style game, like base it around the Expanse and have like the colony guys being the sort of the Earthers and stuff, trying to take control of different space stations out there, and have these guys as your kind of asteroid mining crews and your belters, and then have some like proper cool 0G rules and stuff thrown into the mix. Because then that would mean that you could have the robots just literally walking around and everything, because it's like, oh, well, we got mag boots. Ha ha ha. So
cheaters.
Yeah.
Slightly more sci-fi upgraded versions.
Don't fire a flamethrower in space. Yeah.
Fire in space is beautiful.
Yeah.
Learn that.
Those helmets really are appealing. That's so utilitarian. You just wear it.
Yes. But all this armor is way too big. Just put it on.
You have to put it on because book says it that you
do. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
Now, people who are paying close attention will notice that some of the squads of system troopers there have separate heads. And that is because they do a range of heads that you can mix and match and add to stuff.
Yeah.
So male, female, variety of flavors, all sorts of things. For Amanda, who's always been looking for cat heads. There you go. There's a whole stock of cat heads. The Daughters of Bast looking helmets.
Wow, you get a serious amount of them as well for the price.
Shelf knockers.
The shelf knockers.
You get 20 of them.
Wow.
But it means then you can go in if you want to start doing things like all those balaclava headed guys. Maybe not. Maybe just stick berets on them all.
At least one of these deserves a cigar or something. They just say one of them you'd expect to have a cigarette or a cigar.
True.
You probably will do.
Yeah.
And if not, you can always just add them yourself. Bunny hats. Bunny hats are cool. Everybody loves bunnies. What else we got? Heavy infantry, visor closed. Is that Master Chef? No, very different visor.
A little bit more Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Yay.
No,
I've mentioned him quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, apparently.
Yeah. You're really getting your G.I. Joe on.
I really am. Yeah.
You should go back and rewatch the outstandingly good films.
I wouldn't take that advice.
Nice as well. The fact these are 28 mil, I don't know who sculpted those, but they have a very Hixian look because these sculpts' faces very similar.
They do a little bit, don't they? Yeah.
Which makes me wonder. I mean, these might be very, very close to sticking on some of my other 28 mil ranges. I'm just thinking. Anyway, because there's a
very nice stuff.
A stunning amount of heads.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So, militia, winter with big fuzzy Russian bearskin looking things, militia, colony rebels, all sorts near future.
Women now.
That's our system.
It's good to see that Pig Iron is getting ahead, and I'm sorry.
So good, John.
No,
You can go now.
I'm done. That's it.
System Commandos.
That's my one dad joke of the year.
So proud.
I like those.
That's a bit more MasterChef.
Oh.
It is very much so.
Very ODST sort of look to it.
Yeah.
There's one other thing I want to show you, if I can remember where they live. Is it? It must be in the add-ons. Yeah, it is. Don't want bases. If we skip the bases, so the little Goliath we've seen earlier, you can have just this little thing, just diving around. There's backpacks. There's laser cut cargo crates. But then there's also these for objective markers.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
And those dice as well.
Yeah, like I say, the dice only appeared this week as well, so I'm not sure what's going on with the old.
Actually,
dices.
big chunky metal dice as well. Then, yeah. Or are they just coloured plastic?
I will tell you now.
They are English pewter. Oh,
weighing 38 grams each. These have real weight when they hit the table.
Or your friend's head.
I've no
Crikey,
idea.
imagine rolling them.
I have no idea how many you get, because it's only £4, so I can't imagine it's a ton of them. But it doesn't say how many. Anyway, yeah, if you want some sci-fi looking pieces, they're very good for objectives as well, because they look kind of like sci-fi crates, but they're all numbered.
Yeah.
You just put whatever faces
good idea.
as your objective.
Yeah.
Away you go. But yeah, the ejector seat, weapons case with the weapons.
Even with the foam inside it as well.
Yeah, because you don't want the weapon rattling around inside.
Yeah.
With its chute on it.
You've just chucked it out of an airplane. You don't want it to rattle.
Yeah. Ooh, tiny ejector seat. Bye. Where's the pilot gone? Maybe he's one of the casualties lying somewhere else. Rolled off. But yeah, interesting set of stuff from Pig Iron. Like I say, more to come. I really like the kneeling skullgirls. I can just see them lined up in an 80s action film where you're just waiting on like Jean-Claude Van Damme to swing in through the window, or maybe a John
with a one-liner.
Yeah. Which means you can always look at somebody like Studio Miniatures, whatever we've featured in the past. Pick up your Snake or your Die Hard-esque heroes to throw in there. But yeah, fascinating stuff. Let us know what you think of Pig Iron below. If you're looking for them, it's Pig Iron Productions. But if you just Google Pig Iron Miniatures, you'll find them via that as well. We shall take a little break, and when we come back, we'll be taking a look at the news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we are back, folks, and we are going to be starting off with a bit of historical news from the guys at Firelock and Phalanx Consortium.
Yeah. So over the last sort of couple of weeks, I think it was sort of last month, they actually properly hit a lot of the web store and stuff. We have got 3 new starter forces for Blood and Valor, which is the World War I war game from the folks at Firelock and Phalanx. So these split down into the Anzacs force, the Ottomans and the Russians for this period, which I think is pretty cool. Each of these has been designed to come in at around 150 points, so it's a good starting point for you to dive in and start playing the game. And each of them will come with a set of their core infantry designed around the particular themed force. You also get assault teams in there as well, so you get those running forward to go and kick ass and take names. There's also machine gun teams, and then each of the starter forces also comes with a command element, so you'll get your leaders to take to the field as well, which is quite nice as well. So yeah, all of these are available in 28mm scale, which is scale for the game, and also you get a PDF with each of these, which is free, or at least there are PDFs for some of these anyway, which will allow you to play these armies out on the tabletop. So I think it's got the Russians and the Ottomans have got PDFs for them. If you can't find them on there, they have them over on the Firelock website as well, so you can go and check those out and things. Which
They
is
can
quite
book
nice.
themselves anyway.
Oh, okay.
I've got a copy of them.
Yeah. Because I wasn't sure whether or not these were some of the ones that they did additionally. A little bit like they do sometimes with Blood and Plunder and stuff. But
Ottomans. Oh, Imperial Russian isn't.
But
there
we go.
Ottomans
so
and Anzacs are. So.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice.
There you go. They got the PDF for that.
Figures.
Yeah, so they're resin as well, these ones.
Nice.
So you can pick them up and dive in and have fun with them, Which I thought was quite nice, because I assumed these were going to be metal miniatures. But
I think the previous ones were metal as well.
But no, resin for all of these different sets. And I think the dynamism that they've added into them is really nice. I think you've got some nice troops in this collection that are sort of rushing forward and heading over the trenches and that kind of thing as well. So good MG teams as well. And then I think the leader figures look really nice.
Everybody likes the Maxim.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Imperial Russian handy, because I know they're planning on doing the Bolshevik War as well. So I think Bolsheviks are getting enlisted at some point. Actually, as far as I know from chatting to Mike recently, Rufus and Kai have almost finished the supplement.
Oh, brilliant.
So I need to speak to Rufus about having a wee chat to him vis-a-vis that and what he's been up to, just to see what's going on.
Yeah. The thing that's quite nice about these as well is that they kind of take you into elements of World War One that maybe you haven't thought of. Like, a lot of people will be playing the British and French versus the Germans in the trenches and all that kind of thing if they really want to. But I like that you suddenly now move over to the Ottoman Empire and you start playing out the fights that they were having. You can play those moments, as you say, with the Russians when they were involved in the war, and then when they had to pull out and fight their own internal civil struggles as well at the same time. And then, of course, you've got the Anzacs, which allows you to play with, Commonwealth troops that you wouldn't necessarily think of including in your armies potentially. But now you can, because you've got the elements to go and do that. I think it's quite nice. So,
and I mean, if you want to keep playing with the Russians into later war anyway, some of the Russians they weren't seconded to the French army, but they were put down into Southern Europe. And then when the rising happened, Russia pulled out. They didn't want to go home, or they were still intent on fighting where they were. So they just ended up joining up with the French army. So you can have an interesting mix of French and Imperial Russian troops together.
A little contingent of the Russians there at the same time.
They ended up. It's also one of the reasons why the Russians also had the French Adrian helm as well, for a very small amount of their troops. So you can sort of do some interesting mix of matching and kit bashing as well. Between those and the Wargames Atlantic French kits.
One of the things I was, because obviously these are, they say 150-point starter forces. Where's the next step up from that when it comes to Blood and Valor? Is there like a big points leap, or is it?
No, your points for Blood and Valor are sort of a 200-point game is officially big game. But you're limited in what you can have, because you can only have a support unit. So the likes of off-board artillery or machine gun teams or the assault squads, you only have one of those for every one sort of main unit that you have. So you tend to end up with a solid core of riflemen, of mainline units. You're not going to have a ton of machine guns or whatever happens to be kicking around. In some cases, you're limited to only one of those support types. So more riflemen, and then maybe the way I've been doing it is get a rifle contingent and then add in cavalry or something like that to change it up a little bit. Mounted infantry or cavalry or that sort of thing. So you can tweak it that way. And then obviously always take the off-board artillery and just drop it on. I mean, you only get one turn. You only get one turn of it, but by God, if it hits, it hits. And if you've got a force that's capable of taking flamethrowers, then I hate you so much. They are absolutely, they are terrible things. But great to see more coming for Blood and Valor. And like I say, it'll be interesting to see what lists are in the new book as well.
They were available for the first time at Historicon, which wasn't that long ago, I believe, anyway. But
last week,
and then they are going to be more available online and stuff as things go. So if you were like, "Where's my copy of this?" It should be coming soon, I would imagine. So not too worried.
Where are we off to next then?
We are off to a different reality. So Fantasy Flight Games have been, as you know, they've been working really hard in bringing the X-Men into Marvel Champions. So we've got Mutant Genesis coming up. That's on the way, and that was previewed at Gen Con, alongside two different upcoming packs. So we can expect that Wolverine will be joining. What a surprise, who knows? But alongside that, we did get a very much unexpected scenario pack. So it is an otherworldly scenario. So you're going to be entering the twisted reality of Mojoverse. So it's bringing the unfathomable Mojo mania onto the table, and you've got scenarios that are going to take down villains, hunt down an ally, and see yourself in the midst of different television shows and genres and face off against the big man himself. So the scenario pack comes with 78 different cards, and it's going to have 3 different missions to dive into. So you're going to need to think out the box with this one. Yeah, so the first villain you've got is Magog, and he is the champion of Mojoverse at the moment. He is going to be continuously regenning. So no matter how hard you try, it's going to be a tough one to knuckle down, and you're going to have to think of different ways to take him down, such as engaging with the crowd and winning over the audience. Once he's down, you're going to follow Spiral across teleportation without getting too close and causing damage to yourself. And once she's been nailed down, you can buddy up and ally with her to take down Mojo himself. And Mojo's going to see you through a series of television show ideas and genres. You've got like drama, like fantasy, horror.
Dial M for Mojo was funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Mojo is going to be able to constantly change the environment that's around you, but Spiral can do the same. So the game can change. Longshots, in addition, as you can see to the pack, he is proving to be a worthy ally in the Mojoverse as well. And it's really interesting one, to be honest. With these scenario packs, you can play them as a one-off. You can embed them into a bit of a break for your heroes between a campaign. I'm sure that none of the heroes you've been playing expected to jump into the Mojoverse anytime soon, so it might work as a really good mini campaign. But there are 6 modular sets, they're easily adaptable, and you can throw them into any customised waypoint in your game. So it's quite an interesting scenario pack coming for Marvel Champions there, and it's ready to be released in autumn next to Mutant Genesis.
It's just struck me, there was a film called Stay Tuned in probably the 80s, where the mum, dad, and the kids accidentally get sucked into their TV, and every time somebody changes the channel, they sort of jump from TV show to movie to genre. So you get things like, instead of Wayne's World, there was Dwayne's Underworld. It was an amazingly bad film. But I'm just having massive vibes of the 80s. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that there's some proper old school WWF wrestling. I would just love to see somebody in the ring with Mojo.
What's quite nice about these sets as well is that because of the way that Marvel Champions is designed, when you pick up a hero, you don't have to do any deck building if you don't want to. You can just buy the pack and immediately start playing with the hero. So if you want to just play Mojo and then you want to pick up a random set of heroes or something, you can just be like, cool, well, I'll pick up Wolverine when they come out.
Yeah.
Just use their deck straight out of the pack, dive straight into playing some of these scenarios and just have fun with it, which I think is quite nice. Of course, some of those starter decks are a bit bad. Sorry, Thor. But and he's my favorite. But yeah, this one sounds really good fun. And I think it's a really inventive way of introducing the mutants in, rather than just going immediately for just like, and obviously they are doing Cyclops and Phoenix and Jean Grey and that kind of thing, but rather than just going, and here's the Mutant Academy, they've gone, and now here's Mojo.
Yeah, exactly. It was a really, really random one. And I think the last one was the Hood, the last scenario pack. And it was all very, it was around Spider-Man, the last, what was it called? The Venom-based expansion. And it was still very street crime. It was still very, you do your regular stuff on the streets, go against your villains that are grounded, albeit Venom and stuff. But this is taking you onto a completely different reality.
Yeah, sounds really
interesting. Completely strange route for Marvel Champions. Sounds cool.
Excellent stuff. Speaking of different directions and strange routes, the Plague is coming back to Deadzone in a big way. And I suppose also Firefight. So a long, long time ago, when the Kickstarter was being run for Deadzone 2nd, there were a whole host of new and exciting creatures for the Plague, the unusual genetic altering strain disease that is creeping around the universe of the Galactic Co-Prosperity Sphere. And these models were available then as add-ons and in metal. And then years later, they haven't really been available at all. So if you didn't pick them up then, you haven't been able to have them in your lists, but finally they've got round to it, re-releasing them, but in resin form. And we're going to kick things off with the big Plague Bursters. So it's great to see these finally making it onto the tabletop, because they are, in some respects, handy to have. In other respects, absolutely filth. So the Stage 2 Bursters are particularly bad because they can sort of pustulize all over you.
Oh, yeah. They need to look gooier, don't they? They do need to look a bit
just imagine
gooier.
any time they take a shot or somebody punches them that one of those big boils bursts. And when it hits you with the same attack as like a chemical flamethrower. So it's got like the It Burns special ability for Deadzone if you're running Deadzone. I've got these in metal, and I could kill a man with them because they are monstrous. They're just, and I'm not surprised with the cost of everything going up that they've decided that metal just wasn't the way to go, because there was a lot of grippiness going on that was a pain, I suppose, to cast up.
Left 4 Dead has a lot to answer for when it comes to zombie types.
That is very true. Or even the original Resident Evil, it had big bursty things and unusual plagued up birds like the Mojoverse.
Mojoverse.
The boys were pecking at our eyes.
Yeah, that's right.
These are gargantuan. Now, the set I have in metal, there's actually a few others. There's like a wall with one perched on it, and then there's like a little flock of Mojoverse. But these two massive vulture-like creatures are in there, and very handy if you're planning on playing a plague list in Deadzone, because it gives you much needed range, threat range rather than ranged attack. Most of your stuff is very punchy, but the murdered birds can cover about half the board ish. They've got like a 2-3 move, and on an 8 square board, obviously being able to go halfway across in one turn will really give your opponent pause for thought. When they get there, they can peck their way, take out their eyes, and that's how you stop your opponent from shooting back at you. I just love the murder birds. I'm going to dig mine out and put them together. I've sat on them for 5 years. I'm not going to do it now. But as well as the new additions, I love
the Plague Lord. He's so cool.
Yeah. So with the re-release of Firefight, the new second edition, and with Deadzone coming, they also went back and took a look at some of the existing models that had been done in PVC plastic, and these have been redone now into resin. So the original Stage 1A Plague Lord was nice. I really like him. He's a gorgeous figure. In fact, there's one sitting somewhere. There's one. But he's very static. He's very up and down. He's just standing there watching the world go on. This guy looks like he's got very annoyed that people have come onto his planet and aren't plagued yet.
Get off my lawn,
he will solve that issue by the medium of repeated punches to the head. But they've also gone back in and things like the Teraton, the teleporting turtle, as well, are also getting a new iteration or variation. Which is great to see, because the models that exist were nice. This one's a bit bugged up. This is a Teraton on steroids, which is what I want to see when somebody has plagued up an alien, is that they should get bigger and harder and chitinous and all the rest of it, and just generally terrifying for all and sundry. And then we have the Plague Sentinel. So and amongst the plague and the leapers and the like, you can have these larger creatures that can do a lot of damage. He should be on a bigger base, I feel, not from a model point of view, but because of what he can do on the tabletop.
Right. Okay.
He is filth deluxe, and the fact he really is the fact that he's only on like a standard base, he's a size 2 creature, means that you can really do a lot of damage. Whereas I was expecting, when I seen his stat line, that he would be another 40 mil monstro. He's also, if people are wondering, I think he's an Alpha Simeon style gorilla.
He does seem that,
which allows him to swing through the inner cities of Deadzones with the greatest of ease, and then ruffle stomp you into the ground, because that's what they do in life.
As you want to do, yeah.
And then
I thought these were terrifying.
Well, they are, and all they've done here is take those terrifying hairless cats and just reproduce them exactly on the tabletop. They haven't had to do anything to make them. They are creepy, creepy things. So yeah, plague swarms, always good to have as chaff. They're relatively annoying, but the most annoying thing is being a hairless cat. They all have evil acidic bites, so they're AP2. So if you're facing something like heavily armored enforcers or forge fathers, then these little cat fellows are going to tear through that armor in short order, and obviously at the same time, hairless cats.
The thing that I really liked about them, well, no, I didn't like it, but the thing that reminded me of is whenever you see the movies where they're fighting something that's like Gribbly, and they can take out the big things nice and easily because they can see them, but then something gets inside their suit and starts nibbling away, and that just like freaked me out, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
I don't want any of that.
Nice to see all of the plague getting a plague day out. So if you're after additions to the Deadzone plague list, then they've now got them in spades. Also sneaking in under cover of darkness.
Another random release, yeah.
So he was I wouldn't say limited, but he was only available in the army pack for the Marauders for Firefight. So if you're just a Deadzone player and you don't need a full Marauder force, you couldn't get him up until now, but they've managed to extricate him from the army box packaging. And now if you want just a
belts on belts with this.
Yeah. Oh, it's all about the belts. Anybody who likes Mantic will tell you they love their belts. If you want to see belt deluxe, look at the ogres. Oh my God. There's no clothes there. It's just layers of belts in various places.
It's like LOUVE from Final Fantasy X. All the belts.
But really nice Marauder. Rocking the Ripper claws as well.
It reminded me how much I like the Marauders and the way that Mantic approached orcs, in that they've made them feel strange. It's a strange word to use, but more alien looking. Like they're not just a fantasy orc that has found its way into space. They feel like an entirely different kind of like race faction within the world, which I think is really nice. That sort of fits into something a little bit more sci-fi. Yeah, it's very cool.
I also quite like the explanation for why they're green as well. They come from a planet that's very highly radioactive, and the green.
That's why they glow in the dark.
Well, but the green skin pigmentation essentially is like a natural UV sunblock.
Okay,
nice.
That's why they've developed that over the years. So it's solely to protect them from the harsh rays of the sun. And being Irish, I can 100% understand that. The harsh rays of the sun are terrible.
Oh my God, the emerald green had there's a reasoning there.
Yes, yeah. 100%, yeah. Irish twinned with orcs at a young age. So there you go. Deadzone looking spanking, and I'm just looking at my own Deadzone force going, well, I could probably add a few bits and pieces.
I think the plague would be the way that I would go.
The leapers are particularly nice. And if you've not seen the plague, actually have two nice plastic kits as well. They have the plague stages that also have things like the dog on it, the plague hounds come on the sprue, and then there's also a zombie set as well for just the mindless hosts, which is
I would paint them with contrasts and just go blending crazy on them to get their like skin tone and stuff. That would be really cool. Yeah,
just chuck it on and make for the horizon.
Just mess around with it.
Yeah. It's definitely a way to go. Now, returning back to the Mediterranean.
Yes.
World War II.
Oh, yeah. So we've done World War One. We're now moving into World War II. And I picked this one up because it's something a little bit smaller. And I wouldn't necessarily normally kind of put this thing in the weekend because it's a little bit of a smaller story. But the thing that really got me was this idea of playing as different factions within something massive that everyone knows about, right? Yeah. So with this is World War II Greeks from Great Escape Games. And the thing that really got me here was there's something similar to what we saw with the Firelock stuff earlier and the Phalanx Consortium models, is that I didn't know anything about what the Greeks did in World War II, which is to my shame, because I should definitely know this kind of thing because it's important. But when I was reading up about this, I was absolutely fascinated by how the whole Greek situation played out. they had like this dogged resistance against the Germans and the Italians during that first part of the war. Then they got occupied. Then there was the massive uprising in the resistance. Then there was infighting within the resistance between the different elements of it. Then they captured parts of their country back, and they basically controlled all the mountainous regions. And then there was just constant fighting all the way to the end of the war. And I was just thinking to myself, suddenly, I'm like, wouldn't it be amazing just from seeing these miniatures pop up on their web store to play out an entire campaign based around this? You could play out from the beginning all the way to the end, just this entire Greek saga, effectively, maybe like a Greek epic, with these different troops. And yeah, so I was really amazed when I saw these miniatures and did a little bit of reading and stuff. So you get a chaplain in the set, as some people said on Twitter, it's very unorthodox to have some sort of Greek models, and they went, oh no, wait a minute, it's very orthodox.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And then you've got like an ambush team there, which I think was really cool. You've got the Greek flamethrower crew, and there's an observer crew in there as well. There's also some Romanians that got released at the same time, but you know, they're kind of cool, I suppose. But I was just like, how awesome is it to have this like neat little set of Greek miniatures? And this isn't just the start of what they've been working on. They've done loads of Greek stuff in the past over the last couple of months as well, and they've really built up this nice collection. Great Escape Games built up a really nice collection of just sort of alternative miniatures for forces that you wouldn't necessarily think of when playing World War II. And I was just like, wow, what a really nice little inspiring set of releases that could take you up in a very different direction. It was very cool. So,
excellent for if you want to do things like the invasion of Crete.
Yeah,
this is perfect for that, isn't it, John? Just break out the Fallschirmjäger and throw them against Greeks just up in the mountains.
Yeah,
and show how that one goes badly wrong.
This is another part of World War II that I'm not au fait with either. Like I was aware in my periphery of things that Greece is a thing. They at one point got invaded, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
But they I don't know if it was the Crete invasion with the Fallschirmjäger that went so badly wrong.
It was
that Hitler went, we're not doing any more drops. There's no more airborne assaults. From now on, you're just another ground unit.
The Germans announced airborne forces don't work, and America went, hold my beer.
Pretty much.
The other fascinating thing I learned about this as well was that, I mean, you could use these troops to play out all the fighting in Greece during that sort of earlier period, and then later on if you wanted to as well. Although you probably want to play around with some kind of resistance fighters and do some interesting things there. Maybe we'll see some models on that front from Great Escape Games. But I didn't realize as well is that the king and his sort of entourage escaped to, I think it was Egypt, and they raised a Greek army alongside the Allies and fought alongside the British
in North Africa.
Sort of North Africa and against the Italians in sort of like fighting from the other direction. So there's so many interesting ways for you to sort of introduce them into your games. And it just comes from like just seeing one or two fun little miniature kits suddenly gets you thinking about entirely new ways of playing games, which I thought was really nice.
It feels like you went down a rabbit hole. And
I did. I was like, and to Wikipedia. That's amazing source.
What have the Greeks ever done for us?
It's a great way of starting it. It is a great way of starting.
But no, fascinating stuff, and it's well worth going to check out the rest of the stuff from Great Escape, because they have an amazing Wild West game.
Dead Man's Hand,
Dead Man's Hand,
Gangster.
Chicago Way.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure to go and check out their World War II stuff, because they've got amazing miniatures and also lots of really nice small scale stuff as well.
Excellent stuff. Riveting stuff there from Ben. Free. Riveting.
I see what you did there, Jerry. Right, so back in July, Steamforged announced that they're going to be acquiring Simon's Diesel Punk Miniatures game, Rivet Wars. Okay, so they've recently announced they're going to be taking the title to Kickstarter in an all-new reboot. So according to the announcement, they're going to be taking all of the best from the original title and upgrading the components, give it a whole fresh new look, and loads of new content to go along with it. So whether you've played Rivet Wars or you haven't, this entry point is going to be for players both new and old. So Rivet Wars Reloaded is going to be coming to Kickstarter on September the 6th. So rebooting completely from the 2014 release. So If you've never played Rivet Wars before, you're going to be taking on opposing side within the world of Rivet. So 2 players are going to go into kind of an industrialised alternate reality of World War II. The First World War, not World War II. We're just speaking about World War II. But
they're all combining.
They're all wars. And the world, they've evolved in the way of the machine. So you got your unique weaponry, and you as a player are going to be on each side of the war, going for success. So you're going to have 11 refined miniatures incoming, a whole new look for the modern audience. So it's enough to pull in a new fancy modern crowd, I'd say, but not enough to separate from the original title in the mix. So the game mechanics have been updated, apparently, not so much in terms of details, but they are going to be incorporating tiles now. There's going to be some new scenarios, and they are adding a solo mode against an AI. So loads of content, and the original factions will be making a return, and they're going to have a new one. People that don't really like dipping into Kickstarters might want a new faction. This one is going to be an exclusive. This is the Nemoans, like Jason Momoa kind of verb. And as I said, Kickstarter exclusive. They're morally grey, apparently, wild tactics, and they come from...
I think people are going to be moaning about that one when it comes out.
Oh my God.
Some units have been updated, so if you do want to still play your old ones, you can, you can slip in and switch changes in the miniatures with cards. There's not much information regarding all of the gameplay in total, but it's not too long for us to wait when it does come to Kickstarter.
Apparently, the guy who created it originally, alongside, I think was it Simon? You were saying that, when they were working, he was like really, really engaged with like this revamp, because they apparently people to talk to him at Gen Con and stuff.
It's amazing.
And apparently he's like super into it and definitely wants to bring out more stuff and everything. So it feels like it's going to be something that's going to come out and then potentially expand in the future, which sounds really cool. So,
yeah, because it's a board game, but it's like a strategy battle board game. So it's some halfway house between a full-on war game and a board game. So it takes up a fair bit of real estate on the table, but not as much as a full 6x4. Interesting, because I hadn't really come across much about it before. But I've seen that they've done expansions for Eastern Front and things like that for the original one. So I wonder how all-encompassing this will be, or if it will just be get the new edition out and then down the line.
Maybe we might see some new expansions.
Pop into the expansions in the different, fronts or wherever they happen to go. But worth keeping your eye on anyway.
Indeed.
Speaking of keeping your eye on things, have you ordered this, Ben?
I haven't yet, because I'm hoping someone will buy me it as a present. So,
What is he?
So I really, I love dragons, and the folks I had to sneak this in because I just saw it and was like, well, I definitely need to talk about this. So WizKids and Wizards of the Coast have been working on a brand new premium pre-painted miniature that is now available. Finally, we talked about this, I think, in February this year, but it's now properly available to buy. As the title would suggest, this is about $350 worth of dragon, but it is absolutely massive. So it's 18 inches tall and has a 24-inch wingspan. So it's pretty big. Yeah, it's it's as I like to call it, a megature. Apparently the can of soda doesn't come included, but there we go. I was going for like a dragon blood Coke or something.
Can to scale.
There we go. But yeah, your standard reference can. So this is a massive model. Comes with detachable wings and a detachable tail, so that you can actually, ship it,
store it, move it,
store it away, and all that kind of thing. Yeah, have it in your vicinity. Although I just have it on the wall, or on like a mantelpiece or something. I just have it all the time. But anyway, obviously, $350 is a lot of money.
Big ask, yeah.
Yay!
Because I was thinking $350 for a pre-painted WizKids model, and then when I actually saw it, I actually think the painting is pretty good on it. I mean,
it's not bad.
I think the photography's doing it justice.
Yeah. But I like, normally when you see these things, you can see where the factory has someone at the factory's gone, I can't be bothered, just do some bone, blah, 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 blah. Whereas with this, obviously, because it's one of their more premium models, they've done a little bit more extra work on it and a little bit more care and attention and things. And there's blending and all that kind of nice stuff on the model too, which is always nice to see.
Well, dry brushing.
Well, dry brushing. Yeah. You might get a wash over the top of it. Might not necessarily be a bad thing, but I think it's a pretty decent miniature to pick up. Now, as we say, $350 is quite a lot of money. It was going to be $420.
I see that in the
article. So yeah, maybe for all the hardworking DMs out there that they've been slogging away in the old narrative mines for 5-6 years working for you, maybe your group can sort of club together. And
is this your subtle hint to your group? Because I know you DM for them all the time.
Buy me a dragon now.
I think John's right about the pictures, though. I think if you would have got more pictures of the dragon next to a lot of stuff or in some kind of terrain, it would have done it a lot more justice. But with the pictures that they've got, they do cut off a lot of the muddle. And I think this is probably one of the only ones that you do see the whole thing next to.
And it's more neutral lighting in the shot as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
a render. Never mind. We can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know if
it's an interesting
I would definitely
one.
go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I flat out wouldn't. It may be half the price of a Spaug, but at the same time, I wouldn't pay that money for that miniature.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing because you're either going to approach it from the viewpoint of, well, I have to do nothing and I just get a dragon.
True.
Or you could 3D print something for 20 quid. You then have to paint the thing. So, it depends which way you want to come around.
God forbid that painting's a part of this hobby.
Well, for a lot of D&D players, it isn't.
It is.
They just buy
Yeah.
pre-paint.
Yeah,
so,
true.
but yeah.
But at the same time, I'm thinking you could go and get like a Schleck dragon, which is also pre-painted for £20.
I mean, it is a nice dragon.
It is a nice dragon. It's a lovely dragon. I'm not taking anything away from your dragon. Your dragon's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's by Grabthar's Hammer. What a dragon. But I'll just throw this
but
one.
Not what a deal.
No, not what a deal. Here's one here from Schleck. €18.69. It looks like that.
Nice.
It's not going to be as big. I'll grant you that. But I could have a whole flight of dragons.
I remember when Warren and
Dragons.
Lloyd were trying to buy every single one of those.
Brauk. Anyway, sorry.
There's bound to be one knocking around here somewhere.
Oh, I imagine it is. But anyway, if you have an urge to own a dragon bigger than a can of Coke, then you can do that for only £300.
Exactly.
For a big day, Terry.
Oh yeah, no one. Yeah.
$50.
Yeah.
I think £290, not £300.
There we go.
That £10 is a difference, right? Yes.
only via xe.com.
That's
because
true.
often we see this where it goes, it is $500, and then when it gets here, it's £500.
£500.
There's no exchange rate in there, so I'll believe it when I see it on a shelf in the UK and see what price it actually comes in at, because you may find yourself paying that $420 anyway. Right, what's our last bit of news for today?
So the last bit of news, we're turning to Games Workshop because we're going to look at what the pre-orders are for this weekend. I don't know why I went slightly Scottish there. It's mainly probably because the main character that we're going to be talking about straight away is Drecky Flint, who's a badass dwarf. So yes, there's going to be a couple. Of course it is. Yeah. So this is a couple of the new book-based heroes that are coming out from Games Workshop and Black Library for Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
Of that dragon.
Yeah, might actually have killed it. Yeah, so you've got two characters. The first of these is Drecky Flint, who is an adventuring Caradron overlord, one of the Duardin, who is looking pretty swish. So his book is going to be coming up for pre-order this weekend alongside the miniature. So if you like his adventures, you'll be able to dive in and play them out on the tabletop as well, if you would like to do so. He will also come with free rules, as is the case with all the stuff for Age of Sigmar. You'll get a free war scroll with all the bits and pieces on for using him on the tabletop. If you want to go down the anti-hero route, then you can pick up the totally emo edgelord that is Kado XR Ezekiah, I think his name is.
Sure.
So edgy.
So he is an edgy vampire, as you say, Free, who is a hunter of chaos fiends. So he's still a bad guy, but he's got a good side, and he comes with a massive sword, which I think is always cool to see. A lot of people who like their vampires, including one of my friends who's bought way too many vampires, is going to be picking this one up. So very cool stuff indeed. But that was
nice to see somebody is a big fan of Jandar Sunstar from Ravenloft.
Well, yes, actually, very true. Yeah,
that's good.
Not stealing, just appropriating. That's
homage.
Yeah. We've also got a box set that's coming out. So we've talked about this in the past, so I won't dwell on it too much. But this is the new Arcane Cataclysm box set that comes with effectively 2 kind of starterish style armies for you to dive into Warhammer Age of Sigmar with. You get the core rules and everything in the box as well, but this comes with the Luminath Realm Lords and the Disciples of Tzeentch, or Tzeentch, however you want to say it. You also get the 2 new models leading the way for that. So if you want to pick those models up, you can get that box set. And then there's also the additional releases for Warcry as well. So the previously looked at Centaurian Marshal, not Centaurian, Centaurian Marshal,
different,
is out for you to pick up and play around with. He's your kind of Be'lakor-based leader figure for your warbands and can be attached to any of the Chaos Warbands, whichever one you like. There's also the very, very cool Chaos Legionnaires that we have talked about in the past as well, with their very nice sort of old school, old hammery style armor, which I think is very cool. I said cool again. Very nice. It's a meme now. And you've also got those nice shields as well, which remind me of the Marauders shields from back in the old plastic kits, which are still in circulation anyway. But it's a pretty nice set. I think most of them are pretty good, apart from I don't really like the guy with the horns on his helmet and the kind of Beastmen legs. I'm a little bit weirded out by him. Yeah, but but the others. I
was already hovering over him before you even started that set.
Yeah,
but look how cool their leader is with that awesome kind of like
crested helm.
Yes, crested helm,
massive
horny shield.
Yeah.
So
Have you met my greater demon? Kiss yourself.
And in addition to the models, we're also getting the thing that was meant to come out a couple of weeks ago, which is the Warcry Compendium. Now, if you've downloaded all of the PDFs that already came out a couple of weeks ago on War Community, you probably don't need to buy this, because as far as we know from looking at the contents page, everything that was in those PDFs was in this book. So production issues, maybe, I don't know. Either way, if you want a physical copy of all of those things, then you can pick this up as well. Unless they sneak something in there, maybe they're going to sneak some bits in and they've been like, ha, you didn't see this in the content.
It's entirely possible it's just there for people like me who refuse to use digital. You know, it's similar but different. But the important part is the refusal.
It has all of the fighter profiles and all of the abilities for all the different warbands that exist currently for Warcry before the new edition comes out. Oh, and just as a reminder, if you thought seasons were only going to be a thing for Kill Team, don't worry. They're coming to Warcry as well. There's going to be a box set every quarter and a whole bunch of other stuff as well at the same time. So there we go. And John died a little inside.
Start selling his kidneys now.
Yay.
It's how you go. If you don't like this current box set, don't worry.
Wait
There'll be another one in a couple of weeks.
So
that's a host.
Fun stuff to look forward to, and lots of things to pre-order this weekend if you would like to dive in. So there you go.
I need to go and put on my fat pants after eating that much news. So we shall return after the swish. Okay, folks, we are back and we're going to be taking a look at some 3D printing, which we couldn't last week because somebody broke my Mini Factories website and it wasn't me.
It wasn't.
It was not me. That is my excuse.
Jerry was smashing the system.
I just run magnets over the screen in front of me until things go away that I don't like. But LOUVE, is that it?
LOUVE.
You know how you speak French, don't you? You cover the second half of the word, squint, and pronounce only the vowels you can see. Anyway, so
I think that's Cornish as well, probably.
Is what you found for us last week?
Yes, yeah. So this is a mythical and strange and wonderful land that has been put together by LOUVE. Contains a whole bunch of sort of very sort of out there pieces. I would say that there are themes, and I think for the most part, you're going to get kind of like a D&D kind of fantasy RPG vibe from a lot of the stuff, especially to use as monsters and things. But the rest of it is basically just, well, it seems to at least be whatever they wanted to make, really, and creating strange things to go alongside that. Like you may have noticed that there was a particular interesting looking pocket monster in this collection.
Swamp version, maybe. Yeah. Oh, see, I'm all for that. That looks fantastic. If you don't immediately think Bulbasaur.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but it's fantastic though. It's frog, toad, mushroom guy.
See, I was looking at Toadstool and a toad frog thing, and I thought it was some sort of play on Toad, but it's a Bulbasaur. That's from one of those Pokemons.
Well, then Pocket Monster games. Yeah. If you were looking to play around with like cute myconids, perhaps in D&D, these might not necessarily be a bad idea for you to dive into and have fun with. I think they look quite nice, and you've got an interesting section of them there with sort of, slightly larger guardian-style creatures, and then mages and shaman and all that kind of thing in there as well. So it's not a bad collection if you wanted to play around with organic material and do some interesting painting, maybe with some fluorescence.
The faces are beautiful as well. The faces
are very nice. Yeah.
I like the fact this one's got a feather. It shows that it's scaled appropriately for being a form of fungi and not actually a 40-foot tall monster.
Unless that's off the back of a rock.
Unless it's off the back of a rock, yeah.
And I love that he's got almost like a leaf as a feather for his hat on his toadstool and carrying around.
It's very nice.
It's
so as is the way with most of these things, they have separated them up into collections. So you have a lot of them, so sea creatures, for example, orcs and saber-toothed cats and all that kind of thing as well. And that kind of sets the theme for what they work on from month to month. I like the Fung Rider, the Fungideer, and the Baron Dragon.
The Horse of Death.
The Horse of Death. Get the Baron Dragon. Next level. There we go. Yeah. The Fungideer in particular made me go, this is very cool. I was very much reminded of the Natalie Portman film where they go beyond that strange, weird barrier. What's it called? I can't remember the film. Someone's going to. No, not Leon. Where she goes beyond the barrier and she finds all sorts of strange creatures that have kind of been meshed together with nature. And this very much reminded me of that, because you could have the normal tones of painting a traditional deer and then work in all the fluorescence and stuff at the top. I think that'd be really cool. I think
this looks fantastic if you were to put it in a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
That'd be
the world has gone a little bit off kilter, and so all the wildlife has started to
mold.
It's not right.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting.
And very, very different.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty much any other fantasy state.
Yeah. I don't think anyone else has created a mushroom stag deer creature. So,
All for it.
No, they have not. You're correct.
The horse You've got your Horse of Death, the twin horse heads there too, kicking ass and taking names.
How happy they are. I'm going to call them Sam and Dean.
But you can have some nice fun with that. Add some flaming mains to the back of those. I think would be really nice. One of the nice things about this collection as well is that you see some of the finished articles as well. So you see the render work, but then you also see how it looks when it's gone through the process. And of course, it's next to a D20, of course.
He's a happy little guy as well.
He is a happy little guy. Probably because he's just maimed a group of adventurers. And he's all tidied up for today.
He's just thinking, I don't cost $320.
That's also what he's thinking, yeah. You could take me home for as little as $6, But very nice stuff. And I like the fact that it's a dragon, so you could paint it in the traditional sense, or you could turn it into something a little bit more fey, because I think the way that the wings have been done there were really nice. You could play around with it a little bit more. But
we've got coatals as well, is always good.
Yeah.
It's where they've taken an animal and done something to it.
Yes.
Whether it's giving it a load of fungus attributes, or in this case, a couple of dogs that also seem to be happy king cobras.
It's very that Simpsons episode where they go to the island, Dr. Monroe's Island, whatever it's called. I can't remember.
I know the film.
Where they mesh animals and people together, but done
it's
with animals.
A strange animal evolution kind of thing.
Yes.
I've never seen anyone try to make a king cobra look derpy though. The one with the fangs actually protruding out looks mega derpy.
The low one.
Hey.
Come
Oh, it looks like a pet though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
These you would happily keep these as a pet. Same as the shark dogs we saw earlier.
I don't
They'd be
know, Free.
fantastic.
I think your
They're
love of
cute.
animals goes a little too far. Sometimes.
That means there's other people too, John. It's not just me.
You can all go onto a boat and stay away.
There's I love the Minotaurs, and the Big Bad Wolf is amazing as well.
But Big Bad Wolf is Fenrir, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks
Running
like
back with the sword in his mouth.
It's either Fenrir or it's the wolf like
Sif.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, Sif from Dark Souls. Yeah. I think it's Sif or Sif's dog. One of the two. Anyway.
I've never played.
It's very cool and it looks nice. But yeah.
And
again,
I like the texture on the fur on the back.
There's an interesting thing to it where, similar to what we saw with the mushroom creatures, there's something a little bit off about it. So you could paint it in a non-traditional style, and I think it would still work. So if you like put loads of colours through it rather than just being sort of, white or grey or brown or something, I think you could do some really fun stuff with it.
I think this would look really nice in a paint job of, do you know Okami, the amateur?
Yes, yeah.
I think that would look gorgeous because it's got
With the
kind of
swirling
that rugged
tattoos on
look.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's very much paintbrush style looking, and I think that would be gorgeous.
That would be
Sword
very
in
nice.
mouth and all.
Yeah.
The Minotaurs.
Some Minotaurs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like the
Because nobody likes the
muscular
game. Yeah. No, well, tell that to the people who sculpted the Games Workshop once. They have muscles on top of muscles.
Muscles. Maybe they're not. Maybe they weren't muscles on top of models. Maybe they were massive cancerous growths, and that's why they all turned to chaos.
Yeah.
We
Hung
could
around with
dream.
Nurgle too long.
Death Wish.
Wow.
I mean, these would be quite nice to use as sort of Minotaur heroes, perhaps, rather than just being, foes for you to face. Because I know you can drop them into things like
That guy
D&D and stuff.
especially.
So- Yes.
Although I would quite happily use them as foes for people to face.
Oh, well, yes.
Broken Legion, they'd be great for that.
Mm-hmm. I like all the scratches and scars on the blade as well. I think it's a really nice addition to things. Shows that it's a properly battle-worn blade or poorly forged, whichever way you want to.
Or both.
Or both, yeah.
Why not?
That one will not kill.
It's a fascinating set of stuff. What else have we got in here?
Ooh, what's it?
A Fawn Familiar, a Monsters Collection, and then some sort of weird kaiju-like things at the bottom.
Yeah,
Big infernal skull.
So this is where you get some of their more traditional D&D style miniatures. So these are the ones that they kind of started things out with and created for their collections and stuff. And again, basically just sort of flicking through the monster manual, as many people want to do, and sculpting the things that they think people should have on their tabletops. I mean, that's a fascinating sculpt.
Spooky Skull time.
Make sure you don't miss any of the errant support nubs when you're going through on that one.
Yeah,
although you probably
notice.
To be fair, you probably wouldn't notice. Yeah, it would just
Right.
be another bubbling royal of flame. So yeah.
This is an interesting collection. More
fairy dragons. Yes. Yeah.
Myconids.
Shrooms on very angry.
He's grumpy. Yeah, he's grumpy. This guy.
I think they all are. It's probably because somebody's landed down and ate some of their children.
Yeah, looks it.
Why are you frying my brother?
I didn't do it. That's what he said. It wasn't me.
That one you just put facing a wall, door, as if it's just scratching to get out. Just leave it in the dungeon there.
Yeah.
You two can play a fantasy version of Stray.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's an imposing looking figure there.
Yeah, I like that because you could use that as a statue rather than just a monster if you really wanted to as well. Or you could use
supportless. Ooh.
You could add them as statues at the beginning of your adventure, and then you're like, "Oh, those strange creatures," and then you do eventually face one later down the line. That'd be cool. So it'd be like a little marker as to what's coming. Yeah,
Dagron eggs.
and as you say, very much going with that Fey look, where the wings are more sort of butterfly-ish rather than kind of reptilian, which I think is quite nice. Yeah. Yes. That's Groot when he skipped leg day. That was.
It's every now and again you go from the sublime to the chibi ridiculous, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have something that's very starkly fantasy sculpt, and then
Yes.
next thing is some sort of cartoonish, whimsical little thing scritching on a door.
Gorgeous wings.
And I quite like that though, because you could be slaughtering your way through a dungeon of creatures, and then the DM just slides one of those into the middle, and you're like, "Oh my god, it's a baby! Kill it and take its loot anyway."
That's interesting.
Yeah, Displacer Beast.
I was going to say I've recognised, but I couldn't think of the name. Normally,
And it's kind of using its
up front, but
using its tendrils to launch itself forward, or like cushion its fall, or something.
See, there you go. And then the next one's playing with its tail, or playing with its tentacles.
Because then you can kill the evil mother, and then you can raise the child as your own.
Of course,
and then it will rebel against you because it will have sentience and remind itself. I love the Revenant Eye Tyrant, or Tyrant Eye as they've called it. That's amazing. It's nearly a Leshen. It's got horns and a skull face. It's nearly a Leshen.
The little crosses
over
the eyes.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. It's not right. People at home can tell me how not right.
And there's a big old space for you to put your hero when it gets chomped by the beholder. Or just do that and wiggle it on your finger.
It's like some sort of surreal finger bobs.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Finger Mouse would not be expecting Finger Beholder to come into its world. Look, there's those nine-tailed cat people that run QCon. I will never let that go.
Why I don't go anymore.
Unicorn.
It's a really nice collection that's been around for quite a while now, actually, and they've done some really nice stuff. And I think you can see that there's been like an evolution in the development of what they've done, and they've gone for slightly more crazy and wild things as things have progressed. But they've been around on My Mini Factory. They've got a Patreon as well that you can dive into and have fun with. Get your hands on stuff every month if you prefer, or you can just buy them individually and use them as and when you need them. So
it's very cool. I also like the fact that some of them are supportless and listed as such up here.
Yeah.
So
you just drop it into your slicer and away you go. You don't need to do any.
You don't need to be clever in any way, shape, or form.
As less cleanup once it comes off the bed as well.
Excellent stuff. So that is LOUVE.
LOUVE
3D. If you're interested on My Mini Factory, and they've got a little tribe as well. So that's the monthly doohickey.
Yeah, Tribes, Patreon, store, whichever way you want to go.
Nice.
So.
Sweet, to the beat. Right, that just leaves us with a couple of Kickstarters to see us out.
Yes.
Who have we got first, Ben?
So we are actually starting with another 3D printing one. So this is from Printable Scenery, who we've looked at in the past on many occasions when they've come to Kickstarter and done their projects, because we love their stuff. They do really nice kits. In fact, we've printed a bunch of it off and used it many, many times. But this is their Country and King 3D printable terrain Kickstarter. Not King and Country, just to confuse you.
Yes.
Can I butt in straight away? Because I remember when we were preparing for the show this morning, I was scrolling through Facebook and this ad actually came up.
Oh,
and
nice.
I was like, maybe Ben doesn't know. No, he knows.
I know, yeah. So this is for a collection of 28 to 32 mil, can sort of sit in every sphere, and obviously you can resize things and all that nonsense. But this gives you a selection of buildings and scatter and all sorts of other bits and pieces for you to recreate the countryside of the British Isles, and perhaps even a little bit of northern France if you really wanted to. But who'd want to go over there? But anyway, this allows you to make your sort of Norman manors, your castles, your forts, your churches, your cottages, your ruins on the moors and all that kind of thing for you to dive into and have fun with. And because of the fact that Britain just don't change, you could use these in the medieval era all the way through to right slap bang now when you're watching this. So if you wanted to do something back in the past, you could have fun with that. If you wanted to do some Civil War stuff, you could easily play around with that. If you wanted to do some Napoleonics, you could try that. If you wanted to do some what if World War II, imagine if the Axis had managed to land on our shores and battled through our villages and stuff. Maybe you could play around with some interesting ideas there as well.
Your interwar, if you want to do your very British Civil War.
Yeah, Great British Civil War as well.
Got your medieval fantasy as well.
Medieval fantasy, because of course, everything in fantasy is based off Western European aesthetics. So you could just use this for all that as well. And the nice thing about a lot of the kits that they do, and in pretty much all of the stretch goals that they've already unlocked, because of course this thing is funded, you get the whole versions of the pieces, and then also ruined versions as well. So if you wanted to make a dynamic tabletop, you could have fun with that.
That just screams World War II. Look at that,
I mean, it's amazing. Yeah.
So just one step away from hanging a US airborne trooper off the steeple.
Oh, yeah. The only problem is we don't have any printers that'll print this. So.
Yeah. So yes, these are only available as STL files, as I was mentioning at the start. So if you want to get your hand on those, you can indeed do so. Dive in, have some fun with it, and play around with it. I think they have smashed it out of the park when it comes to stretch goals as well. Because
really,
I mean,
that's unusual for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people love these things, and they will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that Printable Scenery bring them even more files. And we know that they can deliver as well, because they've done a lot of this stuff over the last however many years, working on different scenery for fantasy, for sci-fi, for historical, and all sorts of things in between as well. So they definitely know what they're doing. So it's a little bit of a safe bet, which is always nice to know on Kickstarter. So yeah, pretty good stuff. And yeah, I'm sure if you joined in and had a look at even more of this, you could help them unlock a whole bunch more terrain to play around with as well.
There must be a finite amount of things that they already have concept.
When does the concept artist pen run out? I think is the
like a French mausoleum.
Yeah,
there's
so you can go over the challenge. Oh dear. Anyway, so yeah, you can have. There's basically an entire village, maybe even a town there now. For you to have
chicken huts. Thankfully, the chicken huts have not been destroyed, unlike the pig pen. Pigs are done for. Poor pigs. But yeah, stunning
they've
stuff.
Been blown down. Yeah.
10 days left and still going strong for the old Printable Scenery.
Yep.
Yeah, stunning bits and pieces in there. And we're going to stick with the medieval looking village.
We are, yes.
But going in a whole other direction.
Yeah. So we've done 3D printing. How about some actual physical files for you to download and add to your collection? Well, files. How about some actual physical products to add to your tabletop, not your folder on your desktop? So this is from Slime Industries, which is done by a man named, I think it's Philip Page. I think his name is.
Sounds right.
Check it out. Just to check out. It is indeed Philip Page. Yes, he was an understudy of the Fenris lot, apparently, but has stepped out to do his own thing and has been working on tiny 6 mil medieval village terrain reviews, which I think is both charming and exceptionally detailed.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It really is. It's an interesting bunch of things. We'll start with the buildings, I suppose. The buildings themselves are terrific.
Yes. Yeah.
And 6 mil obviously has huge amount of proponents behind it. So you've got really unique pieces that work to build up a whole range of terrain for all your medieval needs, including things like the charcoal burners camp. I've read about charcoal burners out at the edge of the forest, constantly just keeping these things going to produce all the charcoal required. But I've never think I've actually ever modeling it for the tabletop. But the other thing is, if you don't play 6 mil, something that gets done quite a bit, especially with historic, is if you're playing a DBX style game where you have villages. I know I've done this for Napoleonics, in a larger scale, like 15 mil, dropping down a level in terrain because you've got villages, but villages either can't be occupied or they can only be occupied by one sort of stance. You don't need to have all this stuff individually represented. So having a little grid or square or bit of felt and then putting the smaller things on it and you go, there's my representation of a village. Because if you do it in 15 mil, it becomes a bit big and blocky, whereas especially the likes of the DBX stuff, the impetus and bits and pieces like that, just having the areas sectioned off is all you need. So you could either put one big building on it, or you could have this little cluster to show, the villages sitting there, and they look absolutely terrific.
Yeah. They're all resin for the most part, apart from there's a few components which are laser cut, but I think that's specifically for the sails on the windmill and stuff. But yeah, and then you also get the little Micro World Games Peasant Rabble set, which I think is a nice little addition to the things.
Peasanty rabble, if you're after a bit of peasanty rabbleness.
You're going to
who
hate
isn't?
me because I want to play BattleTech on it.
Well, you would.
See, I understand that. I was thinking that you could also use it to, big ones, big villages to destroy.
Here's a poor, struggling village of peasants, and here's a mech that's just kicking over their houses and hiding behind their windmill for cover.
And you can only stop it with the peasants.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Tink.
Please don't come in here. It's like four of them underneath with pitchforks trying to tip it over when it's coming down.
Yeah. I think the detail on these is phenomenal. I love that you get all of the individual planks of wood. You get all of the individual tiles. They just look great. I think it's a really nice little selection of stuff for you to play around with. And
your mud beehive.
Yeah. And play games, as you say, in 6mm or maybe scales either side of that.
Definitely, if you're planning on doing big games of any sort of ilk, it's interesting thing is to section off, to have areas and go, well, that is a village, and then just have the village displayed in whatever way, shape, or form in a smaller scale, because it gives you a better sense of density, I suppose, is what I'm looking for. But yeah, I absolutely love these. Interesting stuff. And definitely worth having a look at if you've got your historic on. Very good for fantastic battles as well.
It would very much work for that.
Which again has specific sort of footprints for terrain. So you just need to be able to section things in there, and then it doesn't really matter what size you're playing in.
Yeah.
But there is
13 days left on that one.
Yeah. And again, funded as well. So don't think there's going to be anything else added to that. It is what it is, but it's fairly complete as is. So
little tiny one, yes.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Especially if you're after a mud pile from a charcoal burner's setup.
Who wouldn't want one of those?
Who wouldn't be? I mean, we've all been there. It's either that or a still in the forest. It's one or the other. It's either a charcoal burner or a moonshiner. These are your choices. So yeah, check out Slime Industries Medieval Village. That wraps us up for another week. We shall return on Sunday for the XLBS. If you're not already a cultist, you can come over to ontabletop.com and sign up for a free 30-day trial and join us as we witter away on Sunday morning as we sort of ease ourselves out of our hangovers. Otherwise, we shall return next Friday for more of the same. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.